Awesome, awesome. Well, welcome, ladies, so much. I just wanted to make a couple of the ladies co-hosts here so that I could focus my attention on all of you and if anybody else is coming in. Kayla, so great to have you here. Miss Joanne,
Hi.
Tina, Vanessa, lovely to see you here. I'm so glad to have you. Miss Judy, Kat, Liz, thank you all for showing up. Amazing. And obviously, Alfreda and Cindy are here. They are my co-hosts. They will be supporting you guys in the chat, as well as letting anybody else in that's going to be coming in after we begin. But one whole hour, and so I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I don't want us to go beyond that as well. I want to be very respectful of everybody's time, especially those of you that may still be at work, and I know this is probably the lunch hour. So thank you for coming during your lunch hour. Please feel free to eat if you need to eat. Um, I kind of know where everybody's from, but you guys don't really know where everybody's from. So I would love for you to just type in the chat where you are Zooming from. Let us know what state, what country, what city. Love to know so that everybody will have an idea because we've got people from all over, which is so amazing. Um, Maine, so Joanna's in Maine, right? Amazing. Yes, thank you all for having your cameras on. Absolutely. Colorado Springs. God, Cindy, it must be so cold there. I was telling Alfreda it's so cold here I'm at in Washington. Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Ah, it must be
It's
cold there
actually
too, yes?
warm here right now. It's
Oh,
not
is
that
it?
cold yet. Yeah, it's gonna snow probably on Thursday.
Okay, okay, awesome, awesome. Canada for sure, that's cold there. New Zealand, is it warm over there, Paula? It must be warm for you because you're opposite of us, right? Yeah. All right. Guam, yes, half a day ladies from Guam, St. Louis. Awesome. So as you guys can see, we have people in the US, people in Canada, people in New Zealand, people in Guam. So we are like so all over the world, and I love that. I just want to say thank you for the honor of just giving a full hour to yourselves. Thank you for being present and coming here for you. So this workshop, first workshop of 2026, something new that we're doing inside Widow Rising. One of the things that the ladies and I have been talking about is how can we bring more value to all of you in 2026, right? And outside of the weekly Facebook lives that I do and some of the posts that are going in there. What else can we do to offer you guys value? And so this is one of the things that we're going to be doing in 2026 is once a month, we're going to be offering you a 1 hour free workshop and we're going to be talking about different things. And today's workshop is all about identity. Who am I? Right? Who am I? And before we dive into that topic, just a few things so that I can make sure that everybody feels safe and that you guys all will get the most value out of today's workshop. Number one, know that even though this is being recorded, this is not going to be shared anywhere on the internet. This is only for my training purposes only. Thank you all for having your cameras on. I'm so like, I can't tell you how tickled that makes me, right? Because a lot of people don't like to turn cameras on, and we never force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. But this already tells me that you guys feel safe enough to be here to turn your cameras on. So thank you so much for that. That in itself will allow you to have more value and feel the connection of the community that we have right here in this space. Um, Knowing that we are recording, I want you guys to know again, this is a safe space. Please feel free. Like, we're going to have a couple of moments here today where you're going to have opportunities to share. There is no mandatory, thing that you have to. Also, typing in the chat, you can do that as well. But you'll get the most value from today by interacting, by showing up fully for yourself, right? So I'm going to ask you some questions and it might trigger some emotions. I want you to know that this is a safe space for you to feel whatever emotions come up, right? Know that this is a place of no judgment at all. And this is a community of widows who are walking a very similar journey, right? All of us on this call here are widows today. And so we all have an idea of what it's like to lose someone that we love dearly. Okay. For me, as the coach and as the moderator here in today's workshop, I just want you guys to know that I don't take you showing up here lightly. Like, you coming here is something that I value so much. And so I'm going to make sure that you get the most value as well from everything that I'm going to be delivering today. And it's all lived experience on my part, as well as some skills that I picked up along the way of my journey. So for those of you that don't know me, I just want to introduce myself. You all know my name is Darlene. I am the founder and the administrator of Widow Rising, which is where you all came from. So thank you for being in that community. I myself have been a widow for 10 years and already have remarried as well. So I have a chapter 2 in my life. But one of the things that I learned through my journey, which is why this is the first topic we're discussing in 2026, is identity. Who I am now in this life after losing Frank. It was one of the biggest things that I had to go through in my life, right? And so I figured, even after talking with many widows, that is one of the biggest challenges that I hear many of you have told me. I don't know who I am, Darlene, anymore. I don't know what my identity is. I don't know who I am in this life. And that alone can trigger so much human emotions, make us disconnect from the world. And maybe some of you are like me and didn't even want to look in the mirror, right? I didn't want to look in the mirror because I didn't know who the person was looking back at me. That's how much identity or loss of identity crushed me in the beginning of my journey. So if you're in that space and you're wondering, who am I in this life now? You're in the right place, right? And this workshop is not about fixing anything. It's about helping you to become more aware so that you can move forward in your life with more courage, right? With more authenticity, and knowing that you're not walking this journey alone. Okay. And so I want to just would love for you guys to type in the chat, if you will. Who were you before you lost your husband? Right? What were the identities or the roles that you played before he died? Right? Obviously, wife. If you're a mom, you have kids, maybe you were a mom, but the roles that you played, the expectations that people expected of you before you lost your husband. Type in the chat what those were. Wife, mom, sister, friend, the foundation of my family. Yeah. Wife, confidant, problem solver. Yeah. It's me pretty for traditional, but always business owner, my husband. Wife, caregiver, veterinary technician. Yeah. Mom, work manager, life organizer, wife, partner, friend. About that. Mom, grandmother, friend, most of all, the one who always was with us. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for sharing. Wife, daughter, mom, friend to all. Yeah. When you look at everything that everybody has written here, right, you will see that there's a lot of similarities to a lot of it. And I can see it's triggered some emotions, right, with people, with those of you reading what everybody else wrote. And again, we're in this community together, right? We're in this community together. I didn't type mine in, but I'll just let you guys know. Obviously, I was a wife, I was a mom, a daughter, sister. But I was also the disciplinarian with the kids. I was the one who Frank used to tease that he may wear the pants, but Dar always chose what color or what style it was that he had to wear. So in other words, right, he always relied on me to make decisions for our family. So I was the decision maker. And so it was very difficult when he died, because even though I was the decision maker, I always had a sense of um, feelings that he had my back, and that whatever decisions I made, well, we made them together, right? Even though he would always say, well, babe, what do you think? Right? There were definitely times where I said, hey, babe, what do you think? Right? So you guys might relate to that. You don't have a babe, what do you think anymore? And so a lot of times identity is also tied to decision making, right? The identities that we have held, or the roles that we carried when our husbands were alive, were all shared, right? They were shared with them, right? When we got married, right, there was always that part of our vows, right, that said, well, the two become one, right? And so obviously when they died, big part of us died when they died. And most people don't get that, right? Most people don't get that. Here's what I've learned through this journey, because this was the biggest struggle for me. Losing Frank was hard, but realizing that I lost myself was harder. And so through the journey of discovering myself again, there are a few things that I realized that I want you guys to always remember as you're moving through your own journey. Number one, we don't become a new person when our husbands die. We're always here. Who you are is still innately in you, right? And I get that it's hard for us to find that person again because they were so connected to your husband. But the person that you are is always in you. And so part of this identity journey, it is a journey, right? We're not going to be able to figure it all out in 1 hour. It is a journey. But I want you to know, if there's anything that you're going to take away from this call, is that you were never lost. You're right here. Everything that you were before your husband died is still in there, right? One of the beautiful things about this journey, and you may not get that right now, and that's okay. But one of the beautiful things about this journey and moving through it is that you get to discover parts of you that maybe were tucked away because you played caretaker, you played the role of a wife or a mom, right? And so a lot of who we were in our lives with our husband, they were here and we were back here, right? And so we put aside a lot of who we were to be their partner in life, right? And so that person is still inside of you. And so as you move through this journey, you get to discover that person again, but you also get to choose now, what are the things that no longer serve me in this life today? The roles, the identities, even if it's in a box of expectations that others expect you to be. And who was I before? And can that person come out again? She absolutely can, 100%. And so now that you're making decisions in life by yourself, it can be very scary, right? And this is why the who am I is always one of those things that come up for us. Who am I? My kids are big. They're adults. They're married. They have families of their own. They don't need me the way they used to. My friends all think that I cry too much, so I'm too sad for them, and they've all left me. I'm not the same person at my job, and nobody wants to have lunch with me anymore. Nobody gets me, so I'm going to disconnect myself, and I'm just going to stay alone. It's so much better that way. If any of that resonates with you, there's nothing wrong with you. I just want you to know that, right? You're not going crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. And this is all part of the grief journey, right? This is all part of the grief journey. So there's an exercise that I'd love to share with you guys right now. And I'm going to my screen real quick here, just a second. And I'd love for you to reflect on this. Can you guys see the questions on the screen? Can you see it now? Can you see it? Yes, thumbs up? No? Yeah? Okay, good. Awesome, awesome. All right, so 3 questions that I'd love for you to just reflect upon, right? Before loss, a big part of who I was came from. Who did it come from? Or what did it come from? Right? A lot of who we were came from our families, came from our parents, came from our communities, came from our job roles. Right? Question number 2, losing that version of myself feels hard because why? Right? Maybe it's because you lost a lot of people along the way. It wasn't just your husband, but a lot of people walked away from you in these moments. Maybe it was your in-laws, right? Maybe you don't have a community around with them anymore, connection with them anymore, right? And maybe that's the hardest part. I have widows that have told me that even their own kids don't want to be around them, right? So losing that version of themselves feels hard because nobody is around them anymore. And then number 3, if I'm honest, the part of me that feels most lost right now is what? There is no right or wrong answers here, you guys. This is just about you becoming aware of where you're at in life right now. Thank you for showing that vulnerability. That's, like I always say, there's always so much more courage in being vulnerable, right, than hiding behind a mask of strength, right? So thank you, Tina. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure there's women on this call that could probably relate, right? Circle got smaller. Who you were was because of your husband, right? And then all of those fears. Just being able to say all of that, ladies, is awareness, right? And that's the first step in really moving through and identifying who you are in this life now, is to become aware of all of these things, right? This is why I asked the question. So thanks, Tina, for sharing all of that. Thank you, Joanne. We've missed you as well. But to Joanne's point, right? Like that was one of the biggest reasons that, when we were thinking about like what could we do more of in 2026, it was community, right? Like really bringing the community together and really showing you ladies that, number one, we're not meant to do this type of journey by ourselves, right? We're not. And to have a community of sisters, unfortunately, right? That's how we got together, was because we've all lost our husbands. But that's not the end of our road. It's not the end of our road. And so who we become through this journey will be dependent on how much you show up for yourself, right? So there's 2 ways that this can go, right? You can stay sad and lonely for the rest of your life. And I hope that's not what you choose, because you are so worthy of so much more, right? And this community of ladies right here can remind you of that all the time. So a couple of things that I want to share with you guys, and you can write this down. Right? The first one is identity after loss. It unfolds slowly. Right? It's not going to happen in 1-hour workshop. It's not going to happen overnight. Identity unfolds slowly. This is why I said it's a journey, right? In the beginning, I mentioned this is a journey. Right? we need to become aligned with who we are, right? For those of you that are in my program, right, and you know about the path framework, right? Second step in that framework is align with your authentic self. And alignment begins with awareness. This is why I asked you to reflect and ask yourself or answer those 3 questions to help you become more aware, right, of where you are in your journey right now. What are the things that, who you were before, like who helped you become that person? And what is the hardest part of that, right? And if you're honest with yourself, where are we going with this? Listen to your heart, right? Listening to your heart helps you to build self-trust. And I know that's not always easy, right? Because a big part of who we were was with our husbands. And we had that partner, we had that second ear, we had that second eye, we had that second brain to help us to make these decisions along the way, or like Kat said, that confidant, right? So now we have to start learning how to listen to our heart, our gut, our intuition, so that we can start to build that muscle of self-trust. And then the last thing is you don't need answers right now. What you need is curiosity, right? Alfredo always says, get curious, right? Ask the right questions. That's why the name of this workshop is Who Am I? We're first asking the question, who am I right now? And when you start asking, this is something that I teach, right? It's like when you say a statement, I'm sad, I'm lonely, I don't have any friends, whatever it is that you say, if it is a statement, your brain is always going to take it as truth. And it's going to find ways to validate what you're telling yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. If you tell yourself these things, your brain will always find ways to validate that truth. So instead, ask yourself questions, because the brain will do the same thing with the statement as it does with the question. With the question, it's going to help you find the answers. So when you get curious, the brain is going to actively start looking for the answers of what that question is. So keep asking yourself, who am I? Who am I meant to be in this life? Who am I now? What are the roles that I play? What are the roles that I used to play that don't serve me today or that no longer exist? If I really wanted to be somebody today, who is that person? Who is the person that my kids could be inspired by? Who is the person that my grandkids are going to talk about long after I'm gone? Judy's smiling there because that's a question that I ask myself all the time. Like with having all the grandkids, it's like, okay, my kids are already all adults. They have minds of their own. They have lives of their own. I don't know that I necessarily influence them as much anymore. So now I focus on the grandchildren. How do I be the best grandma, right? How can I inspire them so that they can look at my life and go, you know what? My grandma did great things. My grandma was great. That means I'm great, right? It's kind of like when I look at my grandma. I look at my grandma and she is this amazing, loving 90, she just turned 98, 98-year-old woman, right? And I love that I have her genes because it's amazing. Everyone always says, oh my God, you look so young. Well, that's because I have my grandma's genes, right? So I look at my grandma and she also was her and my grandfather were the role model of a married couple, right? So I look at my grandparents and I'm like, I aspire to be like that, right? So when you look at yourself, ladies, please remember your life is not done. There's a quote that I've put inside Widow Rising. It's been a while, so I'll share it every so often, but it's something that I found right early on in my widow journey. And the quote goes like this: I aspire to be the widow that my husband would be proud of, still. And I don't know, depending on where you're from and what you believe, but I remember when Frank first died, everyone always reminded me, hey, Dar, he's watching you. Make him proud. Do things that are going to make him proud because he's watching you. He's watching over you. And I don't know if that, helps you to move forward in life, but that always was something that anchored me. I always wanted to be the widow that my husband would be proud of still. And so everything that I do in life now, I do with that intention. How do I make Frank proud because he's watching me? And how do I be the best role model for my grandchildren so that I can leave a legacy for them? Because I don't want them to remember me as my grandma was so sad when my papa died. She never got over it. I don't ever want them to remember me like that. Right? Grief is normal and natural. I'm not saying don't feel. Please feel. Show your grandchildren, if you have them, that it's okay to feel and that it's necessary to move through the grief process to feel your human emotions. It's one of the things that I learned early on. I didn't teach my kids that. Taught them to be strong, which meant put on a mask, hide behind that fake strength. I was given another chance at doing it right with the grandchildren. And some may say that my grandchildren are a little bit dramatic. Maybe, I don't know. But they feel. And we don't stop them from feeling like the way I stopped my kids from feeling. Right? So we learn this wisdom through grief and this journey of life. And so when you ask yourself, who am I? It is a journey. We're not going to be able to have all the answers in this 1 hour, right? But I hope that the questions that I asked you to reflect on helped you to start becoming a little bit more aware of who you are now, who you'd like to become in this life. Something that I like to say to the ladies in my coaching program, right? I say, we can lead the horse to water, but we can't force them to drink. Right? So I'm here leading you to the water, but it's up to you to be intentional about figuring out your identity. And the final thing that I want to leave with you guys is remembering that you don't ever have to do this alone. Right? You don't ever have to do this alone. So as much as I would have loved to share so much more, I don't want to take up more of your time. We're going to be coming up to about an hour in about 15 minutes. And so would it be okay if I shared with you guys how you could work with me a little bit longer to figure out identity a little bit more? Would that be okay? Yeah? Cool. Okay, awesome. So what I'd love to do is I'd love to offer, those of you that are not in my program, I'd love to offer you 5 days of working with me for free. And in those 5 days, we're going to dive deeper into your own identity, right? So right now we're talking kind of general, and I'm giving you some, some ways to really look at how to be intentional, right? Identity is a journey, right? So you can't figure it out all in 1 hour. But I would love to, and I'd be honored to work with any of you that are not already in my program. 5 days, right? 5 days, and we can dive deeper and we can go into a lot more reflection on some of the things that are keeping you stuck and making you feel like you don't know who you are in this life now, right? So I'd love to do that with you. And those of you that are in my program, don't worry about it. We'll talk about these things in our weekly calls. But for those of you that are not, yeah, just I will message you. I know who's not, so I'll message you, and then we can work it out and see where you're at with that. Thank you. And if I could just touch a little bit on the 5 steps forward, 2 steps back. Grief feels a lot like that, right? It really does. Because we feel like, oh, we're getting better, and then all of a sudden something happens, and bam, we're like, we got hit back down.
Right.
That's grief. You're not taking steps backwards. You're feeling your way through the emotions. You're feeling your way through the circumstances, right? And there's a whole lot of other stuff that kind of come into play with feeling like you're taking two steps back, that I don't want to like inundate and overwhelm you guys, but just know that grief is a journey of this, right? And it's messy. It's not black and white. It's super gray, right? Or brown and muddy and ugly. And it's going to be different for each of us. But when you have those moments, just lean into them, acknowledge them because they're normal and natural, and know that you become aware. Like sometimes we're so much more hyper focused and hyper aware after we start this healing journey because now you know that feeling is okay and that it's normal and natural. And so we start feeling more. And now it's feeling like, oh my God, before maybe it was better when I didn't feel, when I numbed it, when I kept myself busy. Maybe that was better, it felt safer. But it really isn't, right? Because the body will always take score and will eventually catch up to you, right? So lean into it. It's okay, right? And just know that you're never having to do this alone. I'm never having to do this alone. Sharing that. And that is a great analogy to use, right? Just get your feet wet. Just put your feet in the water. You don't need to go dive deep into the ocean. You don't even need to go, even further out. Just dabble right there by the shore. Put your feet in the water. And that's just like coming into this grief and healing journey. Grief is normal and natural. It's a journey, but healing is a choice, right? And they can coexist, right? Because they're both a journey and we can take them together. And so that's why the 5 steps forward, 2 steps back can kind of seem, like you are taking steps back. But as long as you're on the healing journey, as long as you're on the healing journey, that healing can hold you when grief moments happen, right? When grief moments happen. Yeah. I can't wait to meet your grandson, John. He sounds like an amazing guy, right? So awesome. Miss Cat raised her hand again. I love how you use all of these different things on here.
I know
Yes,
that
ma'am.
I know that you're coming to the end of
Yep.
the program today, but I just wanted to say to the folks that are considering Darlene's 5-day program, that it is definitely life-changing. And even if you feel like you're not ready yet, but keep it in your back pocket. Keep her like as your friend on Facebook, and go back to her posts. And my own testimony, Darlene came to see me almost immediately after her husband passed away. I was not ready, and we became friends, but I still wasn't ready. And then Darlene left, and then I went to do other things with another person. But I reached out to Dar, and then she reached back and said, "Hey, I've got this 5-day journey. Would you like to be a part of it?" And this was 7 years into my loss. So I just wanted to just let you know that it truly is a journey. And even though you think like you've got it, there's going to be some days when you just really need to have somebody who truly understands. And so give this some thought, and I'm sure that this is something that you won't regret. So I just wanted to put that out there.
You're amazing. Thank you. I was not expecting that. I promise I did not pay her to say that. But thank you, Kat. That's amazing. Like I'm so touched. I really am by your words. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, beautiful ladies. I think this is a great place to land this plane. Thank you all for taking this moment, this 1 hour of your time to just show up for yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, you're not showing up for me, you're showing up for you. I'm showing up for you, right? And that's the difference. And I want you to know that no matter what, I got you, right? So this is not the end of the road for us, right? I'll see you guys back inside Widow Rising, or if you're in my program, I'll see you back inside those calls as well. I just want to say thank you again and have a safe evening or day wherever you're at in the world. My God, I love it. New Zealand, Guam, Canada, The US, it's amazing. Thanks you, ladies. You guys rock. I love you all so much. And I will chat with those of you that are not in the program yet. We'll see what you feel like. Like Kat said, when you're ready, I'm here. So much love to all of you. And I'll keep you all posted when we have our next one in February. Take care. Bye, ladies.